Jovan Buha, NBA reporter and analyst, host of Buha's Block podcast. Got really good stuff, really good insight on the Lakers, and it's fascinating today because so often, he's going to now join us live, so often I hear about trades, and I bite. I think there's something there. I heard now we all know the Lakers need a 3-and-D wing. They need more athleticism. Cameron Carr is going to help, but he's a kid. You know, you're not going to get too many minutes, but it's nice. It's a start. He's athletic. He's a shooter. They also need a rim protector. So I saw this. I've seen the Jalen Duren, who was third-team All-NBA, kind of disappeared in the playoffs. He's seeking big money, and everybody said, okay, there's the Lakers' answer. And I'm like, that's a lot of money. That doesn't feel like a fit. Give me some clarity on the Pistons all-star and the Lakers' need for a big. Would that thing work at all?
I think it would work. I just don't think it's realistic. I think with the Pistons trading Isaiah Stewart, that clarified their center position. And to me, they're going to move forward with Jalen Duren and Paul Reed. And so them losing Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren, I think would be catastrophic if you're the Pistons. So he's a guy that I think there are some restricted free agents that the Lakers could pursue. And if they outbid their incumbent team, they could poach that guy away. Duren is the one where I think even if you offer him a max contract, Detroit is reluctantly going to match it, but I think they're going to match it.
Walker Kessler makes sense. Now, Utah made him an offer about $30 million annually. He said no. He's what the Lakers need. He's a big, he's young, he's, athletic. He can protect the rim. He also gives you about 14 a night, so he's competent on the offensive end with play initiators like, Austin and Luka. That one feels right to me. Do they have a chance there?
They do. I would say it's unlikely, but they have a sliver of a chance. I think it's going to be really expensive. Already that offer sheet that they sent Walker Kessler, 5 years, $140 million, $28 million per year would make him the highest paid non-all-star center in NBA history. I think the price for the Lakers is going to be at least $35 million to pry him out of Utah. And that might even be low. I think if you're looking at an actual offer sheet that Utah wouldn't match, you probably have to go above that and get closer to $40 million. But I think if you really call Utah's bluff here and say, hey, we're offering him at least 35, I think that would make them sweat a bit, where they have to consider if the Lakers are putting a pick or two on the table in a potential sign-in trade, maybe you don't have to go up to 40. You could keep it around 35 and then you use a pick or two to get Kessler. Because I'm with you. I actually think like Duren is a better player and he was an all-star, all-NBA guy. I think Kessler's a much better fit.
Yes.
If I'm the Lakers, I'm looking at three things. I'm looking at that lob threat, rim runner, paint presence offensively. I'm looking at an elite rebounder on both sides of the ball, and I'm looking at an elite rim protector. Kessler checks all those boxes. I think he's a decently better defender than Duren. So to me, he'd be the ideal fit for the Lakers. It's going to be expensive though, and we'll see if they're willing to match whatever that price ends up being.
Okay, so Nick Claxton goes to the Bulls. He's off the market. So what's the answer if you don't get Kessler or Duren?
It's grim. It's grim. I did a center episode last night on my show. And after those two, I went to long shots in Isaiah Hartenstein and Derek Lively. With Isaiah Hartenstein, the Thunder are $18 million above the second apron, even after this Isaiah Joe trade. So they still need to shed some money. I think could be Lou Dort, who makes just around $18 million. And that can maybe be the cleanest way to get it. But they just drafted a center in Mara in the lottery where maybe they're like, hey, we don't want to pay Isaiah Hartenstein $28 million. And
that's my
guess. If he hits the open market, that would be a guy I think the Lakers would go after. Otherwise, like Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford in Dallas, those are a couple guys that proof of concept with Luka. I think it's going to be expensive. I think Gafford's at least a first. Lively might be a couple firsts. They also both have injury concerns with them. Lively, especially the last couple of years. So, I mean, after that, then we're talking Robert Williams, Mitchell Robinson. Those guys are high-level backups to me, and they have both averaged under 40 games per season the last 3 years. So it's like, if you don't go expensive, if you don't go hunting the big RFAs or making aggressive offers on the trade market, I think you're kind of stuck in a compromised position.
Well, they were stuck with Austin Reaves because Caruso, they let go and didn't get anything returned, so they had to get something for him. Now, they only paid 4 years, not 5, a little bit of a break for the Lakers. It's a lot of money, but he's a pretty good player. Durability issues, there's a ceiling athletically. He can get worked in the postseason, especially in the West, but they had to go there. So the question really is, LeBron's still good, but he would be the third play initiator. It's very redundant. Bands don't need 3 lead singers. They need a big. They need wing defenders. They need youth. They're slow. LeBron's slow. They need pacing. There's just, I think, LeBron's an asset, but the Miami rumor, I honestly believe this. LeBron is smart enough and calculated enough that if Miami called and said, we'll take Bronny and LeBron, I think LeBron would sleep on it. I know it sounds crazy, but LeBron has said he's made $580 million. I can see it. So you tell when Mario Chalmers says that, Bron and Bronny in Miami, I kind of bite. Do you? A little?
I could bite a little bit on that. I think, I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what LeBron wants. Rich Paul has publicly maintained that they have not had those conversations, or at least not had extensive conversations as to LeBron's future. And we don't even know if he's returning next season. Technically, I think he will. But I think at this point, there's a lot that's out there. There's a lot of projecting. I do believe that his preference would be to remain a Laker, especially at a certain salary, because you don't have to move. They can pay you the most money. Just the continuity, the convenience, all that stuff makes a ton of sense. But if the Lakers decide, hey, we're going to go pursue these restricted free agents, or we're going to make a trade for somebody, and now we only have X amount of money left over for you, I could see that being offensive to LeBron and him just being like, all right, well, if you're going to pay me $15 million or whatever, I'm just going to go get that from Miami or Golden State or San Antonio or somewhere like that. So I think it depends how LA approaches the negotiations, how they approach the pitch to him of, we think you fit in, but we think you fit in at this number, and we know you're worth more than this, but to build a roster to compete for a championship, we need you to take less. However those talks go in the coming days will ultimately determine, in my opinion, how available he actually is. Because objectively, I think staying in LA, not having to relocate and getting more money makes a ton more sense than going anywhere else. But if the negotiations sour and they just decide that it's not the right fit, then obviously I think Miami would be one of the top suitors.
Yeah, cities matter. He didn't like Memphis, Milwaukee. He doesn't want to go Detroit. He's bailed on Cleveland twice. He chose the Lakers. He didn't choose it because it was a bad roster with no momentum. He chose it because he doubled his net worth. It was great for brands. All the billionaires met him. He's always been a guy that cities matter. Miami's on fire with all the tech. He's been there. He has relationships. I think it's something to consider. What about this? New Laker owners. A lot of money. They've moved off many all-stars in baseball. And if we all think the Lakers and LeBron are talking. But what if the Lakers right now are in discussions with Utah and they sign Walker Kessler and they're like, listen, LeBron, we have to solve this issue. This is nothing against you. We've got to solve this. It's a bad draft next year. If you look at the bigs that are available, if Duren signs, there's just not a wealth of Mitchell Robinson. He's really defense only. Yeah, and Hartenstein's pretty expensive. My take is, would you be shocked if you hear a Kessler deal and then they force LeBron? Now the pressure's on LeBron publicly. What? It's all about money? This is a better team with you. How do you not sign? Could they sign Kessler and LeBron for 15? Does the money make sense?
They could make it work depending on the cap gymnastics. So right now the Lakers are projected to have somewhere between $48 to $52 million. Yes. That could increase depending on if DeAndre Ayton opts in or out. And then they also have some salary that they could potentially trade off of, looking at guys like Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia, Dalton Connect. I think Jared Vanderbilt, with 2 years left, about 26 million left on his deal. That's probably a situation where you have to attach a first round pick to get off that contract. But there are ways that they could increase the cap space into the high 50s, if not even the low to mid 60s. So theoretically, if the Lakers are able to pull off a Kessler deal and it's 35 to 40 million, if you're upwards of 60-ish to even 65, you could still have 20 to 25 to play with. And maybe that's LeBron in 15 to 20. And then you have another 10 to 15, whatever. So it is theoretically possible, but certainly, I mean, they already gave the big contract to Austin Reaves. If you go out and give the big contract to another player, I don't know how that's going to sit with LeBron, because now it's already been, you're putting him at the number 3 spot. Now he might be the number 3 on offense, but you're putting him more so as the number 4 guy in like the overall hierarchy of the team and saying like, we value Walker Kessler over you, which is understandable because he's a long-term piece for them. They need a center, but I don't know how that's going to sit with LeBron.
Yeah. By the way, LaMelo to the T-Will. I get Charlotte moving off him. I don't think he's a winning player. Durability issues. I compared him to GameStop, the stock. Like there are certain stocks that they're part of your portfolio for 20 years, and then there are those stocks that pop, you sell them at the highest, like LaMelo, durability, maturity, one-legged threes, no thanks. But Minnesota saying, yeah, we're going to go with it. How do you think that works?
It's interesting. I like the fit with LaMelo and Ant. I think they have needed a true point guard around Ant, and with Mike Conley aging into a different phase of his career, they just haven't had that. They've been trying to fit Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Ayo Dosunmu. Like those guys just aren't traditional point guards or high level pick and roll practitioners to the degree that LaMelo is. So I actually like the fit with those two in the backcourt. I also think they have the length and defense and tenacity to supplement some of his defensive limitations, let's say. The issue for me now is that they have completely remade this identity where this was one of the biggest and toughest and most physical teams in the league that would just overwhelm you with their front court size. Now they're a bit smaller. And if you look at, I think right now they have the taxpayer mid-level exception available, which is worth about $6 million. So you're not like, I think Rui Hachimura would be a great fit for them.
Yes.
You could start at the 4. They could protect him defensively with McDaniels and Gobert. They don't have the money for Rui. So they're going to be bargain bin hunting. And, they have not replaced Randall and Naz Reid in terms of their roles in that front court. So actually, I think it's a worthy gamble. I think LaMelo is better than Julius Randle. I see the upside offensively. I do think it probably takes them to a different level on that end. But I think defensively and just like with their identity, there are some depth concerns, particularly on the front line, that I think they're going to have to find a way to shore up.
Jovan Buha, as always, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining me and J-Mac when I'm out, and I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Colin. Good to see you.
Good to see you. J-Mac, did you notice he's willing to listen on LeBron and Bronny. Pat Riley calls. We will play Bronny. We'll give him 10 starts. We'll take Bronny. He's not starting for anybody else. He's not starting for JJ Redick.
Yeah. Well, they told me we're on the app now, so I can just say whatever, let the expletives fly. I think that's absolute. No, I think it's a little crazy, but hey, how good is Jovan? He's very good. He's Mr. Lakers for me. Very plugged in. The Walker Kessler number, he said 35 mil.
Well, I said this yesterday on the show.
Crazy.
I said that's the number. The 35 was the number to me.
So you're willing to give up LeBron, Rui, and is it Luke Kennard or Marcus Smart? Somebody?
Yes.
All that for Walker Kessler?
Yes, Walker
Colin,
Kessler.
We just saw depth dominate in the playoffs. OKC, the Spurs, the Knicks. They have high-end talent and depth. All those teams went 8 or 9 deep. You give up 3 guys for Walker Kessler? I don't know, man. And you got to convince DeAndre Ayton, hey, go hit the market. Somebody loves you.
Well, I thought the Nick Claxton rumors made sense, and Chicago jumped in and made the deal.
Yeah, they give him 25 mil? You got something like that?
Yeah, and I think Nick Claxton can guard multiple positions. The Bulls were smart. I think Claxton can play with Caleb Wilson. There'll be all sorts of long and switchable. That's a really interesting front court.